too smooth, that mud talking to have your ass in a wreck. Who's signing your check? Pussy better do what he says. We shutting down shows. Ain't gotta put no price in your head. Man, I'm coming for your tongue for all that shit that you said.
Gonna make the profiles boom, 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 boom. What it is, I'm gonna tell you again exactly what it is and exactly what it ain't. What it ain't is added preservatives, bullshit, cagada, mierda, things of that nature. What it is real talk in real life by a real one who really did it. And we're gonna talk about real individuals right here. And we're gonna profile some real vets. I never been to Vietnam. Fish at the farm, fish at the storm, with sleeve down arms. Orale. What we're talking about, as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, is an original Norteño vet, one Drew Tokstero, the city of Madera, right? Yes, indeed, the Madera city, man. 559 to be exact, used to be the Deuce Onina, and let me tell you something, I still remember it as such. Now, Drew, in order to give you the full rundown, man, I got to speak it from the heart. I got to speak it from some realness. I was a big fan. You know, I continue to be a big fan of his music. Up north, if you're from Northern California, then you know exactly who Drew Tokstero is, okay? One of the founding members of Darkroom Familia. He had been there from the gate, from the jump, from the offset. He was there, Jump Street, and was a staple of Darkroom Familia. Was in a lot of their movies, was in a lot of their compilations, had his own single CDs, as you can tell by him right there posted up. He just was out there doing it. Now, of course, growing up in the city of Madera in the Central Valley, just like myself, being from Merced, it's not too far away. It's about a good 30-minute drive. So I used to wiggle through Madera on the daily because I like the casino, and that's the way to get there to the local casino. Chancey was popping off. Table Mountain was on point, except for the fucking cigarette smoke. You'll die in there. Other than that, I used to be from the city, go through the city of Madera constantly. But Drew was a name, when you think about the city of Madera, it pops out. It pops out because he's really the founding father of rap when it comes to the city of Madera. He's the vet. He's the veteran that did it, that put Madera on the map. Now, you got to understand, when the GUN album came out, you know, El Norte Law was passed. Everybody was speaking on it. It was the biggest thing. People were riding around down that 99. Didn't matter what city you were from. If you were cruising down Kings Canyon in Fresno, if you were going down Main Street in Merced, if you were going down Mooley Boulevard in Visa, everybody was bumping that GUN CD. It was out there. Of course, if the cops heard you bumping it, they were going to shut down shop, validate you as a gang member, Sasuke, and you were going to get snatched up and do a little time. That's how serious this CD was. And Tokstero had his fingerprints all over that CD, meaning he was one of the rappers that was on that compilation to the fullest. He was committed, man. When he spoke, when he rapped, when he spit what he spit on that CD, he made it what it was. To be exact and to be in fact, and I'm saying it from my heart, I believe he was the best rapper on there. As far as what he told, he truly believed it. He was committed to that cause, and what he said he meant. Now, Drew, being from the city of Madera, he grew up just like everyone else, you know, in an impoverished state. You know, everyone in the city of Madera is surrounded by a very heavily populated raza community. There's a lot of brown faces just like mine and yours. There's a lot of paisas that come there to work out in the agriculture neighborhoods, in the fields. There's not too much going on in the city of Madera other than two things: picking fruit and busting caps, right? People are out there gangbanging. And it's always been a more dominant Norteño area than anything. There were and are, of course, some Southsider hoods established in the city of Madera, and even a few bulldogs sprinkled in just for flavor. But for the most part, it's always been a prominent Norteño area. You know, Madera has held their own strongly for the cause, and they're to be respected as such. But Drew was one of the main inspirations there for that city. You know, doing it and being a rapper and being as well known as he was, at least up north, man, everyone had to give him the respect. Now, of course, his story is deep. It's deep because growing up there, man, he always wanted to be, you know, a Norteño. And he got involved in gangs, and he got involved in a barrio out there called Northside Madera. Now, there's not too many barrios, but Northside Madera is very well known in that area. And he became probably one of the prominent leaders from that hood. Now, of course, not too much going on in Madera. He decided to wiggle, and somehow he formulated some type of correlation and some type of kinship and friendship with Sir Dino, Pastor David Rocha. You know, I send my respects. And he joined the group Darkroom Familia. But not only that, he also joined another group from the city of Merced called Lowdown. Now, he could be seen on several of their music videos, on several of their albums, on several of their compilations. You'll see Drew posted up. And like I said, man, Probably him as well as Pollo Loco were probably the two best rappers from Darkroom Familia to me. I like Dino too. I got to see Arenda Cranca. You can't take nothing away from Sir Dino, but at the same time, these were my two favorite. So I always listened to the music to hear what Drew spoke on because I felt everything he said from the heart. So anyways, hooking up with these two, hooking up with this Vato Sir Dino, DJ MT out of Tracy, of course, and then hooking up with the two brothers from Hayward, you know, Crooked and Duke. He started to become ingrained in Darkroom Familia all the way to the point where the Familia was his life. Now, at the same time, there was separation there because he was also a very well-known norteño at that time. You know, and I think by being in these rap albums, by getting put on by Darkroom Familia, his name started to spread. He started to be looked at as a big homeboy, and a lot of people got the misconception that he was actually part of the structure or part of doing it like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you if he ever got affiliated and up to status. I know what happened with him, but it's not to be put out there by someone like me. But I will say this, he was somebody. Okay, he was somebody doing his thing. He had a lot of close family ties with the city of Salinas, Salas. So he was out there. He had a baby's mother out there. But at the same time, he also had a lot of ties throughout Northern California, period. You could find him, catch him in the Bay Area, not slipping because he was always quick to slip the clip and get to spitting. But at the same time, you can catch him in the Bay doing a lot of wiggles out there and in the Valle. Now, I happened to run into Tokstero one time in the city of Merced, and it tripped me out. It was about the year 2010, I believe. I just got out of prison. I was on parole, and I was mobbing. I was going to one of my familia's house, and I was out there, off Child's Way, out there by a fucking high school called Golden Valley, and I'm mobbing, and there's a street called Merced Street. Now, everyone that's from the city of Merced knows that this is kind of an established Southside local neighborhood, meaning the Sureños were there. The Southsiders had set up shop, so if you walk down the street, you can come up shorty than show. You can be short dog in the ghetto one time if you walk down that street. Quietly as it's kept, people were getting popped, you know? So I remember I had to hit this street. This was the only way to go, so I needed to get on back to where I was going. So I had to take that chance. But fuck it, homes, la primera. Fuck the world. That's where I was going to walk that street and walk that linea. I was no longer active. I wasn't an active norteño at this time. I wasn't involved in the reindeer games. But it didn't matter, man. These vatos didn't know that, and they didn't care. Right? So as I start to walk down the street, I get accosted by a few Southsiders. Yes, indeed. I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen. They see me walking down the street, and they bend the block in a 6'4". Yes, a 6'4", right? Just like a movie. Hey, where you from, Messi? And I said, Merced, home's the West. And they said, oh, is that right? And I heard all kinds of things being slid around, and you know what time it was, right? I almost came up short. And then a door opens to a house, and a vato comes out, Holmes, and I remember he had a little bat, and he was like, what's cracking, Holmes? Right, what's up with it? And he goes, hey, you a homeboy? And I looked, and I recognized him as Drew Tokstero from Darkroom Familia. I said, I ain't a homeboy. I mean, you know, it's complicated, right? He said, come here, bro. And these vatos kind of looked, and me, mug, they already knew who he was. And I think there was some type of fear instilled in him, meaning that they thought he was somebody of high status. They just didn't want to fuck with him. He had been living in that neighborhood for a while, so I actually walked up to him. When we chopped it up for a minute, he gave me a beer. I drank. It was a hot summer day, so it was all good. And we started to chop it up, and he ended up being a very good vato who backed my play right there. And for that, I'll be forever indebted, because I felt like if for no other reason, I was going to come up short that exact moment. But he saved me. So anyways, we got to chopping it up. He told me that he lived there. And I was just amazed that I was actually sitting down with Tokstero. I had heard about him, you know. I'd been in the game for a long time, functioning as an active norteño, but I never got the chance to meet this vato. I knew several of the rappers from Lowdown. Being from Merced, I grew up with Hurricane J, Mikey. I grew up with Mickey D. Of course, when Never moved from Los Angeles to Merced, man, I had the privilege of meeting him a few times. I met several of these rappers from Lowdown, like I said, but I never got the chance to meet Tokstero. And that's a fact, right? So anyways, I remember he used to run around. Here's a quick story. He used to run around real tough with a vato named Young Breezy, who was a rapper out of Merced. Perico is what we called him. He comes from a big family called the Serena family, who this family got mostly dropouts. They're mostly degenerates. They fell off over time, but they play an intricate part in the history into Merced because they come from a barrio called VMR, Barrio Merced Rifa, which was the first established neighborhood in the city of Merced. And Drew hung around with them a lot from what I had heard. You know, back when they were still functioning and active. Of course, each brother was a very big family, fell off one way or the other for whatever reasons they did. But I knew this family as well. And so I used to run around with the vato named Perico as well. He started to run around with Pericos because Perico got involved with Lowdown. He was good friends with Hurricane J, and I heard him and Drew were very close friends. Anyways, one night I remember I walked into this bar, Maloney's. It was the only bar cracking at the time. Same bar I did the pegada at. And we were all there chilling. And he was there with one of his primos, man. I actually chopped it up with this primo the other day. It's a trip, man, to reminisce like this. But I remember this Vato Perico, there was some smut on his name, man. It had come to pass, man, that he had been involved in something of a weirdo nature that he wasn't supposed to be involved in. But being a rapper and being out there like that, at this time he was rapping with Drew. He was on several compilations. You could find him on that song, what's that song? Semi-Automatic Round. He's on the Semi-Automatic Round. He's the little dude wearing the burgundy sweater dancing around. Anyways, right there, he was Drew's homeboy. He's there. And he hits me up. At this time, he was doing a compilation with Buster Brown from Tulare County, I believe, or Kings County, excuse me. Anyways, he's like, what's cracking? Because he knows me, and I'm all high power. I walk in there, and I said, someone's head tonight, right? He didn't know that he was the target, was going to be him. So he's like, all right, just let me know. Oh, we will. Believe me, we will. Anyways, it comes to pass, man, that a big fight breaks out, and I end up knocking his teeth out with his grill. They're on the ground. These are facts. This is a true story. It was an ugly situation, but I remember I got a phone call. Was from Drew, Tokstero. And how he got my number, I can't call it like an alcoholic, but I will say that he felt some type of way. He was like, that wasn't cool. Of course, when I brought him abreast to the situation of why it happened, then he understood and he agreed. And he said, man, I need to distance myself from that cat. I said, indubitably. Menudo style, and a direct fashion, fast, right? So he did that, and that was that. But I had a few conversations with him, like I said, over time. I don't consider him a friend because I don't know him like that, but I considered him an acquaintance, someone that I knew of, happened to meet a few times, and every interaction was a good one besides him trying to get at me negatively, which we nipped that in the bud quite fast. But Drew, Drew being out there in Merced, in the Bay Area and wiggling, he started to gain and garner a big name for himself. And I think the GUN album was the catalyst to his whole career going up. Because prior to this, I'd heard him on a few compilations, a few of the Lowdown CDs, and he never was well known. But some of the songs, man, that he was in on the GUN, and I don't look at the GUN album as being probably the greatest compilation ever made for the Norteños or up north to push that movement. It was hastily put together, something that was thrown out there quick. I think people liked it more for the nostalgia of being a Norteño. It was the first compilation where they were actually naming names and saying things. And everybody knew what was behind it. The dictation that was behind it being El Norte Law. But what I believe in totally is that this was the catalyst that set Drew apart from several other Northern California rappers. I mean, every rap that he talked about being involved in the Norteño movement to the utmost, to the fullest. He really had an impact on young Northerners that were striving. They all looked up to this individual. He had the look, the big brocha, of course, the hair combed back or the bald look. So I'm scared. Then if you watch the old Pumpkin Patch, darkroom movies, he was always in there, no, darkroom, familia, por vida, right? He just had that look, that veterano look. And he was to be respected. I know a lot of my homeboys that did have interaction with him and didn't know him. They said Drew was always a good guy. I've never met anyone that spoke negatively about him or spoke ill will about him. So I got to give him my respect. I did, when I first started YouTube, say that I was going to bring him on an interview. I have a good acquaintance, a good homeboy, man, that's actually good friends with him. And he was facilitating something. And Drew was willing to come and give me an interview right here on Gunner's Profiles or Gunner's Collective. It was Gunner's Collective at that time. Now it's Gunner's Profiles. I got double up. Bang, bang, double barrel. He was going to do something on Gunner's Collective. And then he fell off the map. I tried to reach out to him. I got his phone number. I did try to facilitate a call, but he was missing in action. And so I tried to track him down through a few homeboys because I wanted to bring that interview to you, the gente, the raza, the people, as I promised. But he was nowhere to be found. From what I heard from a lot of homeboys was that, man, he was just doing his own thing. He wants to stay off the radar. He wants to live his life. You got to understand, when you're in the limelight, man, and you grew up as a gang member, as a Norteño, and then you start getting into rap, and you are blurring them lines, man, between rap, hip hop, and gang banging, and you're doing both out there. Sometimes it negatively impacts your character. You're looked at as a target, not only by other individuals' opposition, but also by law enforcement. They think you're pushing propaganda. They think you're spreading poison. They think you're pushing the movement, to which he was just trying to make a little bolsita and do his thing. I ain't mad at him. And at the same time, he was a true believer in the cause. You can't take that away from that man. That man did a lot for the Norteño movement just based on the lyrics he spit and the way he basically raised the young Northerners to adhere to the movement and the cause. That people should be forever grateful for. Tokstero is a legend in the game. Now, you hear about a lot of Southern rappers, right? And they get a lot of shine, man. And there's a few Northern rappers that do get a lot of shine, man. And I don't like to look at it as Northern rappers or Southern rappers, man. I just call it how I see it and call it how it is. But it's a Chicano rap style. It's a Chicano estilo. Okay, it's a Chicano genre when it comes to rap game. Whether you be from Northern California or Southern California, none of that matters to me. But I will say that in my top 5, man, I will put Tokstero as number 4 on my top 5 of Chicano rappers of all time, just based on the heart and where it came from, and and the degree of the man, to know that the character of the man was as real as it got. He was out there on the streets doing things I can't speak on right here because I'm not trying to throw him under the bus and put him on the radar, but I will say that his name was out there. He was a real one. He was really affiliated. He was really doing his thing. And at one point in time, man, he was out there in the city of Salas wiggling, the city of Merced wiggling, of course, Madera, stand up, you already know. And he is still the crown prince of Madera. When it comes to the city of Madera, of course, the gangbanging is still prevalent. It's still real. The Norteño vision and cause is still happening right there in the city of Madtown. And at the same time, if you ask anyone about Drew Tokstero, they're going to speak highly of his name. There's going to be no ill will. And that's just a fact. Like I said, I had a couple interactions with them, and it was always on a positive note. And I'll forever be indebted and respect the man for backing my play against the Southsiders, who in fact were going to tap my ass. They were going to, I already felt it coming. So I heard clickety clack, 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 clacks going on, and I didn't want no part of that. I'm just being honest. And plus, I wasn't even gangbanging. Leave me alone. I'm just trying to walk on down the street and go get me a carne asada burrito, in fact. But with that being said, man, I kind of just wanted to touch on the subject and profile a little bit of a Drew Tokstero. Man, he's a very mysterious figure. Meaning a lot of people don't know too much about him other than what they've heard on CDs and people that have actually ran into him in real life. But I will say this, man, from every person that I've talked to from the city of Madera, from every person from Merced, Lowdown, Darkroom Familia, I have a lot of affiliation, a lot of association with a lot of these individuals. Being from the Central Valle of the 209, I will tell you this, Drew is absolutely as real as they come, and he was absolutely one of the greatest rappers that Raza has ever had, man. We need to continue to push that movement. We need to continue to open up doors for the youngsters so that they can get in the game and get that bag, man, and push that narrative for the Chicano movement and the Latino Mexicano movement, because at the end of the day, man, this is all we have is our future, and Drew set the foundation, the standard, and opened up doors for a lot. With that being said, man, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope you do like Drew did, man. Go out there and get it. Get out and get something, man. Don't stay stagnant. Don't sit your fat ass on the motherfucking floor eating Jack in the Box tacos, Saskia. There's a taco truck down the street. Be authentic. Do the historia. Anyways, I'm going to go to Jack in the Box this afternoon, though. I ain't going to lie. It's bomb. Anyways, with that being said, go out there and get it for your familia. Only you can do it, man. If you like these spills, if you like these profiles, these lightweight profiles on certain individuals that were out there in the element doing it, man, please hit that like and subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I understand. You ain't got to like me. You know what I mean? But you ain't got to want to fight me too. You know what I mean? But we can do that too. The pull-up is real. You can hit that thumbs down. Heavy as the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I believe in. I'm going to continue to bring you these profiles. Again, I wanted to reiterate for those of you that didn't hear it last night on my live, there is a new podcast coming with me, myself, Senor Rojo, and Dubs V. Yes, from the Dubs V channel. Make sure you guys tap into the channel. He's a real individual doing real things from the city of Santa Bruta, from down south, a southern Mexican man that has so much knowledge and so much shit that you can't get in college, man. Make sure you go and listen to that. We are coming together to form a new podcast we will do weekly called The Three Wise Men, where over 50 years of experience being incarcerated throughout the youth system as well as prison, man, will be brought to your plate. We're going to touch on a lot of subjects. We're going to be very interactive with the people. The podcast is coming, The Three Wise Men. Be on the lookout for it. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign up off this. Man, Tokstero. I don't need a tag on my back to let you know where my head's at. Come on the side of my tracks. I'll show you where they're at. Bang, bang. You know what it is, man. The gun. Profiling.